Hi, you guys. Welcome back to the Next 23. I am so excited to officially say this and officially say this for the very last time. Happy New Year. I know it's past January 4th, and I think according to an episode of Curb Your Enthusiasm years ago, we're not supposed to say that after January 4th because it's too much. And I solidly agree. At this point, I have forgotten who I've said it to, who I haven't said it to, but I officially know I have not said it to you guys. So this is the very last time I will say it for 2026. Happy New Year. Thank God it's a new year. Good riddance to the old year. And let's just hope that 2026, that she just walks in quietly and gently. Let's not make any sudden movements. Let's just welcome her in with pure joy and pure happiness and see how it goes. So, speaking of a new year, one thing that if you have been with me for a while, you know this about me already, but if you're new here, let me just say I am a huge fan of choosing a word of the year. And I'm sure you know what that is. It's not new. I've been doing it for decades and people have been talking about it forever and ever. But I love to choose a word for the upcoming year that will set my intention, that will help me focus on something or some way of being for this upcoming year. And I'm not big into like all the woo woo stuff, but I am a huge believer in if you that you see things out in the world that you think about. So, for example, when I got a red Jeep Wrangler was my first Jeep Wrangler. I loved it so much. All I saw out in the world were Jeeps. Like that was it. Did the Jeep wave, saw them everywhere. Now that I don't have a Jeep in my life, I don't really see them anymore. I mean, I see them, and of course, when I see them, I notice them and I love them, but I don't see them as much as I used to because it's just not something I think about every day. So my brain isn't actively looking for the Jeeps out in the world. And that's just one example. But I really do believe that if you are thinking about something and you're actively turning on your brain, whether you want to call it manifesting, whether you want to call it setting intentions, whatever you want to call it, if you are actively thinking about something daily, then you will find it out in the world, not because it just magically appears, but because you're going to be paying more attention and you're going to notice it. And then you seeing it is going to register in your head. Oh my God, that's the thing I was just thinking about. And it's amazing. So, because I truly believe in that, that's why I love to set a word for the year because I really feel like if I do that, then I will focus on it and I will see or feel that energy that I'm thinking of tied to my word. So let's just get into it. My 2026 word of the year, which actually is two words. So I feel like that's more than a word, but less than a phrase. Can two words be a phrase? I don't know. Let's just say it can be. So my phrase of 2026 is wildly unbothered. And you guys, I love this phrase for so many reasons. And let's talk about why this is my phrase of the year and what it actually means. So, for 2025, I feel like not only myself, but our world, our country, our community, our people, everyone I know was wildly bothered, you guys, and for good reason. It was a shitstorm wrapped in a shit show tied with a dumpster fire bow. Like, I don't think anyone could argue that that's what 2025 was across the board. And I think I mean it's not better. It's not it hasn't miraculously, you know, just gone away when the calendar switched over to January 1st. But I do hope that we are getting to better. My hope for 2026 isn't, I mean, of course, I would love it if it just instantly became amazing and wonderful and beautiful and light and happy and joyful and safe and all the things. But I am not delusional. I know that's not going to happen. But I do hope that we can start to get better. And for me, what that looks like is telling myself that I am going to be wildly unbothered. Now, that doesn't mean I'm not going to care deeply. And it doesn't mean that I'm not going to still be highly emotional and still feel all the feels for my family, for my friends, for my people, for my community, for this country, for this world. I'm still going to do all of that. But what it means is I'm not going to get so mired in the shit that I also can't see the joy and the happiness and the beauty that does show up every single day. And I think for me in 2025, I got so deep into the hard and the stress and the anxiety of everything that was going on. And I kind of stayed there, which for me personally is not normal. I know a lot of people tend to not, whether they do it on purpose or it's just, I don't think they do it on purpose. Let me just say that. I think it's just their personality trait and the way they were born. And they tend to look at the the stressful, the bad, the things that cause anxiety. They see that, they feel it deeply, and it's hard to get out of that. And I say that because, okay, little bit of a backstory. I One of my dads is a psychologist, and so I grew up, you know, with a very typical psychologist dad. And one thing that we talked about a lot is personality traits. And you all know them. They come in many different wrappers. There's, Enneagram, Myers Briggs. There's a million different versions of personality tests and traits and all that. And I am not a psychologist, so I don't know all the details. But what I do know is that whatever version my dad used to talk about, there were four personality traits. I don't think it's Myers Briggs, but it's one of those that's out there. And I know the names of them, but I only know what one of them really is because it's the one I am. So there's choleric, phlegmatic, melancholy. I feel like there's a different name for that one, and sanguine. And of the three that I don't know, one of them, the trait is sort of like you look at life kind of like Eeyore from Winnie the Pooh, where you're just a lovely, lovely person, but you tend to focus more on the the hard stuff, the sad stuff, the things that really break your heart. And most people have a dominant personality trait of the four and then a secondary. So most people have two. I am off the charts, and that's a quote from my psychologist dad, sanguine, and I don't have a secondary personality trait. So I am fully diagnosed off the charts sanguine. And what sanguine personality type is someone who, while they experience hard things and can go through traumatic things, they don't let it linger. They have a very, very easy time letting it roll off their backs. And they go through it and they're very much in the reality of it, but they kind of go through it, and I don't want to say forget about it, but they they don't let it stay in their body and tie up their emotions in that thing. They can, I mean, the best way to explain it is that just things roll off their back very easily. So again, it is how I was born. This isn't, I don't think this is something that you learn, or I think you can possibly train yourself to like not be so much in one or the other. And I only say, I actually would never have said that before the past few years, but I say it now because I feel like a lot of my sanguine personality, she checked out and left the station about 2 years ago. And that is why I have been wildly bothered for about a year and a half. While there's good reason to be wildly bothered, I've had a really, really hard time letting it roll off my back. And part of me justified that by saying, yeah, no, I need to stay in the game. I need to stay in the stress and the anxiety because there's work to be done. We need to fight for our people. We need to do the hard work and change the things that need to be changed, right? And if we're not going to show up and do it, then who is? But in thinking that way, what I realized is that it was making me stay in the hard, miserable, traumatic moments for a lot longer than A, my body wanted to, and B, that I needed to. Because I truly, truly believe that we can all make big changes and small changes in ourselves, in our friend groups, in our family, in our community, while still maintaining who we are and being who we are. And that's where I want to get to. I want to get back to original Kelly from 4 years ago, from 3 years ago, from really even 2 years ago. I want to get back to full over the top, off the charts sanguine Kelly because I feel like you guys, she's fucking great. And I think the way I can do that is to every day wake up and tell myself that today I'm going to be wildly unbothered. Doesn't mean I'm not going to fight for my people and I'm not going to fight for what is right. And I'm not going to stop being an ally and stop using my voice. And I'm not going to stop, talking about what I believe and trying to change things for the better. But it does mean that I'm going to focus more on the good and more on the joy and more on the beauty that is every day. And what I realized is that last year I was very much in the space of madly, like, no, what's the word I was thinking of? Madness, not madness. What is it? I wildly wildly mad, basically, right? And so I was mad in the sense of feeling crazy a lot of times because of what was going on. I was mad and very much angry, very angry about everything that was going on. And this year, I want to be wildly unbothered so that I don't miss the magic that is in every single day. And you guys, there is beauty and magic that shows up every single day in life. We just have to look for it. We have to believe that we're going to see it and we have to think about it every morning that we wake up. Know that something's going to show up that is pure magic. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be this Glinda coming down in her bubble magic every single day. But if I'm so focused on being mad, then I'm going to miss the magic of the beautiful woman that walks into the elevator wearing the most gorgeous coat. I'm not going to see it. And then I'm not going to think, oh, I should tell her that's a beautiful coat. And the magic comes when I see her smile because someone has noticed her beautiful coat that she just got and feels so good in. And someone actually noticed it and reinforces the fact that she is on fire in that coat. Guys, that's the magic I'm talking about. And if I am so wrapped up in being angry and mad and filled with anxiety about what's going on anywhere, then I'm not going to pay attention to this woman in her lovely coat. And I'm not going to say something to her. And I'm going to miss that moment of magic. And I don't even want to think about how many of these moments I missed in 2025 because I know that'll make me really sad because I know there was a shit ton of moments that I missed because I was all wrapped up in my head. So I don't want to do that anymore. I do not want to miss any more magical moments in 2026. I refuse to do it. I'm drawing a line right now. Now, I am going to still be highly emotional and care deeply about everything I care deeply about. And there are going to be days that I show up in full passion, whether that is being super pissed off, whether that is being super feisty, whether that is being ready to kick some ass on behalf of people I love. Yeah, I'm absolutely going to do that because there's magic in that too. And if I can just remember that even in that space, if I'm wildly unbothered, it means I can show up even more feisty and more passionate because the opposite of what does Brene Brown say? The opposite of fear isn't happiness, it's vulnerability. I might have that completely wrong, but basically, even if I am angry and mad, I can still show up with pure love and pure passion because I'm fighting for someone I love. And here's a really good example, and this kind of hit home and hit hard for me last year and kind of was like eye-opening as far as the wildly mad space that I was in and how it translated in a negative way. So my son was home. I think it was over the summer. He was home and we were having a conversation and I was in the throes of being pissed off about, I mean, everything, but also very much so about everything that's been happening to the LGBTQ and transgender communities in 2025. Like, I am a big ally, huge ally. I am so grateful to be very closely adjacent to that community. I love them so very much. And I am honored to be able to learn and fight for, be, I guess, adjacent to their community. And I feel like I am part of their community. So, in doing that, because I was so angry and so mad about so many things, rightfully so, I was being very vocal about it in my personal life, in my social media life. I just was reposting and sharing and saying things. And I'm sure I probably podcasted about some things. And one day I was talking to my son and I was getting all fired up about something. And he was like, Mom, he's like, I need you to calm down. He said, I am tired. And he said, I need to just rest right now because it's going to be a long 4 years. And I'm just tired and I can't right now keep fighting and talking and arguing and doing all the things about this. And I realized I was like, oh shit. Yeah, he probably is very tired right now because he is personally being attacked and he's personally scared. Now, as a mom, I am also very scared. I'm not being personally attacked in that community, but I'm very scared. But I also had the energy to keep fighting. So, what this new wildly unbothered thing looks like is that I can sit with him in his rest phase and I can focus on the joy and the happiness and the magic of life and participate in all of that with him while he is resting because he needs to rest. And then over here, because I have energy, I can go do my advocacy and my fighting and all the things. But I can, with him, I don't need to bring ally Kelly with him. I just need to bring sanguine, happy, fun, lovely Kelly mom and enjoy life with him where he is right now. And last year, I didn't realize I wasn't doing that. I thought I was doing the right thing and bringing ally, feisty fighter Kelly over here because I thought he'd be really proud of me. But what it was doing, it was just exhausting him more. So now I realize I can do both. I can still be a very strong ally. And when I have the energy, I can fight for what's right. And I can show up and celebrate all the beauty and the joy and the magic of everyday life with my son, with my cousin, with my family, with my friends. So I think that is what being wildly unbothered means for me. And it doesn't only pertain to the LGBTQ transgender community. I mean, all communities that are tired and that are fighting and that maybe need to sometimes take a break from the fight to enjoy the magic. I want to show up in both ways for all those communities, right? I'm one of them. I'm a woman. So I am part of one of those communities. And my daughter, like, I think she probably feels sometimes the same way. She and I get into these moments where we're like, oh, fuck the patriarchy and misogyny. And we get all feisty and pissed off and feel really like, oh my God, this just sucks. But then there are times when we're just tired and we're like talking to men and we're like, dude, how do you not get it? Why don't keep asking me if what you're doing is right. You know what's right. You know what's wrong. Do the right thing. Show up for us so we can take a break a little bit, right? I think every marginalized community feels that way. And and you know, I I also understand. I am only one marginalized community and I am super super privileged in being a white woman. So there's a lot to unpack there. And again, I am passionate and feisty and I will continue to be an ally, but I will do it in 2026 with this wildly unbothered mojo, right? I am going to show up so that everyone in my life knows that I am here to celebrate first and foremost their joy and their happiness and their magic. And I want to be the friend, I want to be the parent, I want to be the family member, the sister, the daughter, the whoever that walks into the room, sees my person doing whatever they're doing and in whatever energy they're in. And I need zero detail, I need zero information, but I'm going to step into that room and match their energy so hardcore. So if I walk into my boyfriend's house and he is dancing in his kitchen, okay, boyfriend, I don't think would ever dance in his kitchen. Maybe. I don't know. Let's just put that out there for 2026. If he's dancing in his kitchen, I'm not going to walk in and be like, oh my God, what are you doing? This is so weird. Boy, you better believe I'm going to walk in and start dancing with him. If I walk in and he's sitting on the couch and he is just quiet and calm and resting, I'm going to go sit on the couch and snuggle up with him. I'm going to match that energy so hard because I feel like that is what our people need right now. And and then when I'm just with me, I'm going to try and match my own energy. I'm going to really pay attention to what I'm feeling. If I need to cocoon a little bit and be soft and warm and snuggled up in a blanket and quiet, I'm going to let myself do that with zero guilt. If I am feeling super energized and feisty and pissed off about something and I need to post about it or I need to write about it or I need to go call my friend who I know feels the same way and we need to go have dinner and just a bitch session about it, that's what's going to happen. Like, I'm going to really, really pay attention to what is going on in my heart, in my body, in my soul, and in my mind in 2026. And I'm going to approach it with a wildly unbothered focus so that I don't miss the magic. You guys, I swear to God, if I come to the end of a day and I remember, oh my God, there was a woman in an elevator wearing a beautiful coat and I didn't say anything, I'm going to kick my own ass. Just, I am. I better say something every time I see a woman wearing a beautiful coat or someone who has awesome shoes or someone who has an amazing smile, or whatever it is, if I am in that beautiful, joyful, magical moment and I don't address it and call it out and make it known that I so appreciate it, yeah, I'm going to kick my own ass. So that then the next day I wake up and remember to be wildly unbothered so that I can see these moments of joy and celebrate it with strangers, with family, with friends, with my community, with my people. Because in the end, you guys, our people are really all that matter. And it's kind of why we do everything in this world. It's our people. And there's nothing else. I mean, if you think about it, it's why we do everything is for our people and for ourselves. I mean, we are our people. I mean, I'm my biggest fan. I that sounds weird, but I am my biggest fan. I don't expect anyone else to be as big of a hype girl for Kelly Taylor than I am, because that's not fair. If I can't hype myself up, then I can't expect someone else to, or put pressure on someone else to. So ourselves and our people, I mean, that's all that matters. And we need to really focus on that and pay attention to that. And I think if we start to do that and start to really, really look for the beauty and the joy daily, the little beauties and the little joys, and celebrate them in big ways, I think, I don't know, I think maybe, just maybe, that might move the needle oh so slightly in 2026 to good. I love you guys, and I'm cheering for you.